Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried & Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Thank you for tuning in week after week. I can't believe how many people are listening to this. It just blows my mind. And I just can't thank you enough. And I know it's because we have amazing guests that come on. They're vulnerable. They share some amazing stories. And then you guys promote it for me. So thank you so much. I need to give a shout out to our sponsors, Siegfried & Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, iHill Institute, Veracity Networks, and Living Recovery's interventions. And so thank you so much for believing in me and helping us get this out to as many people as possible. And today we're joined with another amazing person who's doing amazing things, Susan Peterson. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Todd.
Oh, you bet. I know you're a busy woman and you got a lot going on, so this just means a lot to have you here. And I'm just excited for our listeners to hear your difficult at times story, but just all the good things that have come from the tragedy that you've been through. You know what?
I really am blessed. We've been through hard times, but every bit of the hard times have left just so many good times.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I learn every single day, mainly from my hard things.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
So I am just totally blessed. I just live in gratitude every day for the many blessings that I have in my life.
Oh, I love that.
So,
and we do tend to learn the most from the most difficult times. And
yeah,
so
we really do.
That was a great way that you said that. Well, to get started, before we get into the bulk of your story, I want people to kind of get to know you a little bit. So
okay.
Tell us where you grew up and maybe a little bit about your childhood.
Well, I grew up in a little tiny town in Anemone, Utah. We always said that my mother had an eighth of the population. I have 9 brothers and sisters, and
wow.
a beautiful family. I couldn't have grown up in a more wonderful family. My dad was a farmer.
Okay.
He owned Richfield Livestock Auction.
Okay.
Also raised alfalfa, potatoes. Spent a lot of time driving tractor for my brothers while they were hauling hay. That's where I learned to profanity, to swear with the best of them.
Yeah, I can bet. I bet. Comes with the territory.
If you get up in fast and testimony meeting and if the swear words fly, you don't even notice them in a small farming town.
Yeah. Well, and then I would imagine too, also what comes with that is just hard work.
Hard work. What? At the age of 8, I was driving tractor for my brothers, but all of us had to have a job. I got my first job when I was 12 years old.
Oh wow!
And we had summer jobs. I was a cheerleader in high school, and my folks had 10 kids, so I had to make my way.
Make your way.
And that's the best thing that my parents could have ever done. Give me a work ethic,
right?
Along with the many other things that they taught me, a good work, and it's been that way with all of my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
They've learned how. Every one of them has learned how to work.
Wow, I love that, and I think it really is that simple. And I say this because, whatever we are struggling with, even if it's addiction or whatever, if we will put in the work,
mm-hmm.
if we will dig deep, and I know it's not always easy at all.
No.
But that hard work, it really is such a gift, isn't it?
Isn't it? I mean, I tell my kids that, and I have always been so grateful that I have, grew up in. Sorry about that.
No, good. Hey, that's what I love about our, we were just talking about this, that, hey, we're going to make mistakes. The phone might ring. We might do a few other things, but because guess what? We're real people and we're just living our lives. And again, it's all good.
Well, I answered the phone for our foundation because we try to keep our costs low. And so
For sure.
I answered the phone and I have clients calling me all the time. So sorry about that.
No, you're good. And we're going to get into that foundation here in a minute and talk about what you're doing there. So what were some, other than the hard work, what were some other great lessons that maybe you learned from your family?
Love. When you grow up in a home we lived in this little tiny 1,500 square foot home, and the 12 people, one bathroom.
Yeah.
You learn how to get along. And, even though you're brothers and sisters and you think that there are some similarities, all of us have different personalities. All of us are different. Mm-hmm. And so I learned how to recognize everybody's different needs and wants, and learn to love them for that. That was probably the biggest lesson and I've always just said that if you can just learn to love somebody, if you can just pick something good about someone and maybe go off that instead of judge them right off the bat. Because a lot of times, and me myself, when you first meet somebody and they say something, sometimes you go to them in judgment. Right. And if you can look at them instead of judge them, love them for something that they've said, or love them for something that they've done.
Yeah.
Look at the positive.
Yeah.
So, and I learned that growing up with that big of a family in such close quarters,
Yeah, I can't imagine sharing one bathroom with all those people.
Yeah, we finally got a second bathroom when my brothers were a little bit older. I'm the seventh of 10. Okay. So we finally got a second bathroom. That was pretty awesome. We celebrated that second bathroom more than about anything in my life, I think.
For sure.
So.
Well, I agree with that. Love is so powerful, and especially now in this world where we're at, and it's always important. Oh, yes. But even more so now, it feels like, right, where the world is and kind of what everyone's kind of struggling with the pandemic, and love is definitely so important and so needed, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And it's, and I think that there has been a lot of hate going around, with political stuff that's been going on and everything else. And so I just go to love. That's the first place that I really try to keep my heart is in gratitude and loving life and being grateful for everything.
Yeah. What a great message, Susan. Thank you so much for sharing that. So you're a go-getter. You're I mean, again, you're a hardworking go-getter. You get things done. You're motivated. You got a lot of passion in the things that you do. Were you always like that as a child as well?
I really was. I know that my mother told me one time, she would just say, you've got to be doing something 24/7. And I think, all of my brothers and sisters are like that. I look across the board, and every single one of them are like that.
Yeah.
We can't sit still. In fact, it sometimes drives my husband nuts because his family relaxes and does things, just kind of eases into life. And I am just, got to get this. And I listened to a podcast the other day, and she said, I schedule my free time first because that is the most important thing. I schedule my fun things first.
Okay.
And then I schedule because I really feel like you need to take time for yourself. And I thought, that was a great message for me.
Yeah.
Because I really do need to schedule the fun times first.
Yeah.
And then everything else kind of falls into place. But I get too regimented. I get too much on my plate and too many things going on.
Sure.
So.
Wow. Well, so as you grow up, you graduate from high school.
Graduated from Paiute High School, went to SUSE, which is SUU now.
Okay.
Graduated from the secretarial program there, and then I worked for some lawyers, Laberman Taylor out of Richfield, Utah. Great guys, both of them. One was a criminal lawyer and one was a divorce lawyer. And so I learned a lot there. And then that's where I met my husband. He's from Richfield. And we got married and in Antimony, a little tiny church in Antimony. And then we've been married for 40 years. So
congratulations.
Had 3 kids, 2 girls, and a son, and then we moved up to Provo, Utah. We bought a Shepherd Oil we had an oil company, had Peterson Oil down in Richfield, and so my husband knew how to run Peterson Oil, and so he came up here. He wanted his own little thing, and he came up. He was just going to get Shepherd Oil off and running, and then it turned into this. He just said, we can't sell it. It's just too lucrative, and so he took on the wholesale part of it, which is a trucking company, a bulk company, and he also delivered to about 95 Chevrons and Phillips along the Wasatch Front. And then we bought one little mall station by University Mall.
Oh, yeah.
Chevron station. And then that, by the end, we had 25 Chevron stations. And so I ran the retail part of it, and he ran the wholesale part of it until 2006. And a company came in and bought us out from Texas. And then we kept 4 of the stations for our kids to run. They had grown up running stations. They went to work with me every day. And so they knew how to run stations.
Teaching them the hard work that you learned, right?
Yes. And, cleaning toilets, scrubbing grout, dealing with customers.
That just,
Yeah, so they all learned how to work.
Sure.
I'm really proud of my kids and their work ethic.
Sure. Well, that's amazing. You've been very successful. You got a beautiful family. We're going to jump ahead here a little bit. Obviously, you lost your son Carson about 11 years ago to addiction.
Yes.
And I know it's a very sensitive subject, but I'm grateful that you're willing to come share that with us a little bit. Talk about Carson. Tell us about him a little bit, and then maybe kind of tell us what happened, and then we'll go from there.
Well, he was the most amazing, joyous, funny, successful child. I mean, he just, we had our 2 daughters, and then we had our son. So my husband and we, sonograms weren't real good back then when we had our son, and the doctor said it was going to be another girl. So when when we got our son, we were pretty excited. Yeah. And I had complications after him, so we weren't able to have any more kids. So we were so excited to get this little boy, and he just was the love of our life.
Right.
And he had such a tender heart and such a, I think everybody that struggles with addiction, and are in recovery, I think that it's the very same thing.
Yes.
They've got this most tender spirit about them. Everybody that I meet, I see my son in almost everybody that I meet that's in recovery. The best people are in recovery. The hardest workers are in recovery.
And it's a great point you make there, Susan. I think what I see too in this, and doing this for so long, and even going through it myself, they feel so deeply. Mm-hmm. Like they've got a big, big heart.
They really do.
And they feel on a level that maybe some people don't so much. But yeah, you're right. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he excelled in everything he did. He was a swimmer, and he got B times from the age of 5. He was breaking every record, and just really excelled in everything that he did. And I see that in with a lot of people in recovery.
Yeah, right.
He had to play offense and defense on the football teams. He couldn't sit on the sidelines. He just was just a go-getter. And then when he went to Timpview High School, he got in a little bit of trouble in Timpview High School. And quit the football team. Just shocked us when he in 9th grade. He just come home one day and he said, "I'm not going back. I'm not going." I guess
Really?
he'd had a little bit of hazing problems with some of the older kids. And he just said, "I'm just not going back." He just couldn't understand why they would do that to him.
Sure, yeah.
He just really kind of had a hard time, and that's kind of when he fell off the deep end a little bit.
Okay.
The kids that he was normally hanging around, he wasn't hanging around anymore. The thing about Carson is his grades never dropped. When everybody says, "Oh, you look for the grades to drop and look for maybe hanging out with a different crowd," he did start hanging out with a different crowd. Excuse me.
Okay.
And then he just. I could tell that he was starting to do things. You know,
Yeah,
he just wasn't. He was, you know, he was very distant from the family, and he was never like that.
Right.
Started being real distant from the family, and then my husband had a back surgery, and he came to me one day and he said, you know, Susan, I think my opioids are missing. Some of my opioids are missing. I know I'm not taking this many. So we started looking into things, and he had been experimenting with some opioids, and I know that he had smoked marijuana before that.
Yeah.
And then I think that was his drug of choice. In fact, I know that's what his drug of choice was. We had to send him to a Second Nature camp out in, I think somewhere out east. And we really felt like that might shock him into, you know, a nature program and wake up. And so that was kind of the first thing that we did for him. And he came back his junior year in high school and just wasn't doing well. He wasn't our son. He was a whole different person.
Yeah.
You know, it just totally changed his personality.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, we got him out of Tentview High School and we put him in Gateway Academy, which is a private school up here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And it was for kids that were struggling.
Yeah.
And that's where he graduated. And he graduated with a 3.8.
Wow.
I mean, he just did really good in his studies. He never fell back in them. But he just struggled with drugs all the time. And then he graduated from there. He went to the U of U, and he got into fraternity.
Okay.
And I think I know he was experiencing a lot of alcohol and more drugs.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he ended up on a front lawn in somebody's house. Went right off the road into somebody's front lawn, and his car just stopped, thank goodness, right before the front door.
Jeez.
And so the people ran out, and they thought that it was in a diabetic, coma or something, went into diabetic shock, and they found drugs in his jockey box.
Okay.
And so he got in trouble with the law then, and then he was off for a full year of drugs for a full year, and then he went in and had an emergency appendectomy, and he called me at like 1 o'clock in the morning and said, "Mom, I'm here at LDS hospital. I'm having my appendix out. Can you come up?" And I said, "Absolutely." I got up there, and the minute I got there, he was just full of morphine, and I knew, because you just know.
Yep.
I walk in and he just said, "Oh, Mom, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I just love this stuff,"
Mm-hmm.
and I just knew then that we were going to have a really hard time getting him back.
It opened that back up again.
Opened it back up. He got totally addicted again. We took him down to Mexico about 2 weeks later. I know he brought some drugs back from Mexico, and then he overdosed. And his girlfriend found him in the nick of time. She called the EMTs. They revived him. After 3 times, they had to shock him 3 times, and they revived him, and he was sent back to LDS hospital, and they put him in an ice bath to see if they could slow down the brain damage that they knew he was going to have because of the lack of oxygen from having to shock him 3 times.
Oh, man.
And he lived for 10.5 months in a vegetative state after that.
Wow.
And it was awful for him to have to go through that. I mean, he was in a body, he was aware. I mean, he knew he couldn't talk. He was in diapers. He had a trach. He had a feeding tube. And to see our 250-pound son, just, dwindled out, die a little bit every single day.
Yeah.
And when he passed away, he weighed 120 pounds. And it was really, the thing about it is he knew he was in that body. And he knew what he had done. He didn't know at first. He couldn't figure out why he was, and the doctors kept telling him, you need to tell him what's going on.
Yeah.
And I told him the first time, and he really didn't get it. And then the second time, I don't think he got it. But the third time I said, Carson, do you know why you're here? Do you know? And he shook his head. He could shake his head. He could say yes and no. That's about the only way he could communicate. He did start mumbling at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
He did start mumbling. And one of the things he did say to me one night, I was leaving just about 3 days before he passed away, and I just said, I love you, son. And he just went, I love you, and that was one of the, that was one of the first things. That was such a gift that he said that to me. So, but that's it. Nobody should have to go through something like that.
Right.
That's just, no human should have to endure that.
Wow.
But anyway, so that is one of the main reasons why we did start our Sobriety Foundation, was because we just did not want any other human being to have to suffer like this.
Right.
And go through what he did. And a mom and dad to see their child suffer in a bed, and also his sisters. And I have, like I said, 9 brothers and sisters. They were all there for him. My husband's family, they were all there for him. Grandpas and grandmas, heartbroken.
Yeah. Sure.
It was a real devastating time in our family.
Wow.
Anyway, that's kind of my son's story, which is
my heart goes out to you and your family, and I know how hard that had to have been. I mean, to see your son suffer like that, and
it was really really hard. It was.
Well, and you've got this nonprofit foundation called the Sobriety Foundation, where you help people get into sober living that may not have the funds to get into sober living.
Exactly.
And you've been doing this for over 10 years now. Is that correct?
We got our nonprofit 10 years ago.
And obviously what happened with your son kind of fueled you in this direction and pushed you in this direction to do something.
Yes.
To help others not have to go through this.
When you lose a child, you're in a daze. It threw me into a tailspin. And I had a doctor and his wife, and they wanted to start a nonprofit. There was 4 people in recovery, and they need a fifth person to sign the 501(c)(3).
Okay.
And so I said I would love to. One of the things that my son said is, Mom, I can get sober. He had gone to 3 or 4 different rehabs. I can get sober. I just don't know how to go out there in the world and live it. And so I just really felt like that was where I needed to put my efforts. And and besides that, sober living is not funded by insurance. And I just really feel like it's just one of the most important parts of recovery is once they get back out in the world, how they need to get a job. They need sober companionship.
Yeah.
And I just really feel like it's just a huge part of the recovery process.
Boy, I couldn't agree more. There's a report, a mental health annual report that you have posted, and it showed that there's 134,172 adults in Utah who need treatment for drug and alcohol dependence, but the public system could only serve about 13,400 individuals.
Yes.
Huge disparity here.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't agree with you more. People go to treatment, I can get clean and sober. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then you throw them back out into the world, with kind of the same situation they've been in.
Right.
And I agree with you. It's so great if someone can go to sober living, be surrounded by people who are going through the same thing, continually doing treatment, right? And working on themselves, and eventually slowly integrate back into getting a job.
Society,
and just taking it slower.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I can't tell you how many people come here at Wasatch and they're like, 30 days, I'm out of here. And we're like, no. You you need to work on this for a minute.
Absolutely.
You know, because when your son said, I just don't know how to live in this when I leave here,
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah. And he didn't. And he tried. He really tried. But it seems like he just would go back to the same old habits
Yep.
and the same friends.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of his friends that he grew up with. In fact, Tenview High School has a really huge problem, especially back in 2011 when my son passed away, of people dying from drugs and alcohol. It's really, there is a really serious problem.
Yeah.
In little Provo, Utah, you know. You
right.
know?
Yeah. And again, going back to the pandemic too, things have tripled
Oh
and,
my
and
gosh,
quadrupled
yes.
in that area. You know, relapse is up, suicide is up, overdose is up.
Yeah.
People checking into treatment in mental health facilities is up because of what we've been going through as a country and as a world right now.
And the study came out in April that says a person dies every 5 minutes from an overdose, and from addiction, every 5 minutes. And I just think, if we were losing people to any other disease or any other form, if they were dying from an airplane crash or a car crash, I mean, it's more than car crashes and gun violence.
Yeah.
It's even more than that. And I think if people were, and you don't hear about this a lot.
Yeah.
You don't hear about overdose deaths.
Yeah,
you
don't.
And I don't understand that.
It's almost like everyone's desensitized to it or something.
Exactly.
It's almost like,
I just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's why I love what you're doing at the Sobriety Foundation. Why don't you tell our listeners exactly what that looks like for you? What do you guys do?
Okay.
And maybe kind of explain your goal and mission there.
All right. Well, what we do is we try to help people that don't have the funds for sober living. And what they do is they go on sobrietyfoundation.org and they fill out an application.
Okay.
And we can only fill about 30 to 35% of the applicants that we get in. There's such a need for sober living in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
By the time people get, to this part in their life, they don't have very many resources to pay for their sober living,
if any
at all.
Yeah.
And most of the time they end up on the street, or they end up going and living back in their home, which sometimes isn't a very good environment.
Best, for sure.
And so we just really feel like that, and our goal is to every applicant we give in, to give out a scholarship to every applicant. And oh my gosh, the state of Utah, people are so amazing and so generous in the state of Utah. We're just barely starting to get in grants, local grants, but most of it has been from individual and corporate donations.
Yeah.
I mean, in the state of Utah, and because that's all we help people that are in the state of Utah or come to treatment in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do, is just this to help Utahns.
That's
so
amazing.
that they're affiliated with Utah.
That's amazing. And you have funded over 1,300 people at this point.
Yes.
Which means you have scholarshiped someone to go in to further their treatment and also to get into a sober living environment.
Yes. And we couldn't do it without an amazing board. We've got an amazing chairman and an amazing co-chairman, and I'm the secretary treasurer. I've got a niece that has been with me since the inception. She does all of our IT work because her aunt knows nothing about IT work, and so I can't do much about that. She's always guiding me through that part of it.
Yeah.
And we've got a non-paid board. I mean, they don't make a cent, an unpaid board, and they work their hearts out. And we've got some great people on our board. And then my family has been so involved.
Right.
They loved Carson. They just really have just been there for me every step of the way. I had a nephew do his Eagle Scout project on addiction, and they raised over $10,000 for the Sobriety Foundation.
Really?
And
wow.
There's just
That's so cool.
every avenue. I am so grateful for for the generosity of my family and
Yeah.
people in the state of Utah, all of our donors. We have a fundraiser every year. The Grand America, it's a speakeasy. It's a sober speakeasy. It's
Yeah.
a fun take on a speakeasy, and
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's really fun. And the people have donated their time to come and speak to us. We've had amazing speakers, and we get all these gifts donated, auction items that are donated. They're beautiful gifts and beautiful trips, and we don't have to pay a cent for them. Every bit of that goes to our scholarship recipients. And our overhead is nothing. We have one paid employee. She's our advocate. She's a clinician, and she helps me place our scholarship or our applicants into a sober living home. She knows a lot about addiction and recovery, and so she's helped me
Wow, that's
pick the
awesome.
perfect place for
Yeah.
the applicant. And so, she works. She does most of her time, or gives most of her time free. She can only work 40 hours a month, and that's what we allocate her. And she hardly turns in any hours at all. And I know she works way over.
Right.
She works very, very hard to make sure that they're taken care of.
That's beautiful. It's
So-
great. It's interesting how when you go through something tough like this, you realize how good people really are, honestly. At the end of the day, people are just good.
Oh my gosh!
You know what I
yes.
mean? And sometimes it takes some to hear this and go, you know what? I'm so stuck in myself. I want to go and give. Right?
It is so amazing. I cannot believe the people that get hold of me. I just had a guy on Facebook Messenger last night said, we had a son die from alcoholism, and me and my wife, we really need to get involved. And so, of course, I gave him my number, and I told him to get on
Right.
sobrietyfoundation.org and watch the video. It tells all about us. It tells it has some of our scholarship recipients on there, gives their testimonies. And I just really, there was so many people out there. Really, the other day there was it just absolutely warms my heart. I'm in such gratitude. There was a mother and father that lost their son, and in lieu of flowers, they sent all their donations to Sobriety Foundation.
Oh man.
And I just,
Wow.
I don't even know how they knew me or knew our foundation.
Yeah.
And I just wrote a letter in gratitude. It was, in fact, it happened to be right on my son's birthday. And it was,
really? Wow.
it on his 35th birthday, would have been his 35th
Yeah.
birthday. And it was just, it just absolutely warms my heart, the generosity of people. So yes, you're right. There's so many amazing people out there.
Wow. Well, and you're one of those, and I'm so impressed with what you're doing and how you've turned this tragedy that you saw your son go through, and you're doing good with it, and you're really making a difference. And I'm sure, if Carson was sitting here right now, he'd be so proud of you.
When we went through the pandemic, we kind of went through, I thought, how are we going to do this? We're not going to be able to have our once a year fundraiser where we make most of our money.
Yeah.
And so I just got down on my knees and I just said, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, lead me in the right direction. And, I could not believe we had a virtual fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And we normally help over 110 people a year.
Right.
During the pandemic year, we were still able to give 93 scholarships out.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
we just, my chairman and co-chairman got together and we totally reorganized our foundation so our overhead was even less than it was before.
Yeah.
We let go of our executive director, and I took over that job because I had been here since the inception and I knew exactly what worked and what didn't work. And, so instead of hiring somebody, which we didn't have the funds to do anyway, I thought I'm just going to start answering the phones and I'm going to just do everything that our executive director did. And that took out a huge expense. And so that's why we were able to still do that during the pandemic, is
Wow.
give out 93
A
scholarships.
miracle right there. That's
It
beautiful.
was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I, like you said, I really feel my son really pushing this along.
Yeah.
I really feel like he's out there saying, Mom, he's had a lot of his friends pass away from drug overdoses. And a lot of them, haven't had the money to do anything, even go to, and haven't even had the insurance to even go to the initial part of rehab. So, I really feel like he's up there cheering me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if someone's listening to this right now and they want to give and they want to donate, they want to learn more about your foundation, where do they go to do that?
Well, we've got a website. It's sobrietyfoundation.org, and there is a video on there, and it just kind of tells all about us and what we're doing, and it's got some testimonies of our scholarship recipients. I don't even want to even drop any names, but a lot of the people that has been a scholarship recipient has gone on to work in the recovery community and just done so well, and I'm so proud of them. And and some of them are on our video, so they'll be able to see that. Yeah,
no, that video is powerful. There's actually someone on that video I know very well, and I don't know if I can. I'd love to say his name because I want him to know how much I think of him and care about him. But he's
I know who you're speaking of, and he is amazing. He's on our board.
Yeah, and he's up at the Capitol making a difference up there, and
Absolutely.
He is amazing and one of the smartest guys I've ever met, but also one of the most caring people I've ever met. And so, again, your foundation is helping so many people to actually fulfill their purpose in life.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we're not meant to be on drugs and depressed, and it's unfortunate it's happening. But when they break out of that and they go do what they were born to do, it's amazing to watch.
I cannot believe how successful they become once they finally see their glory, once they finally see what they truly are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so fun to see them. I've been really close with this scholarship recipient that he's been clean for 18 months, and to see his growth in the 18 months, he went to 16 different rehabs.
Wow.
And finally never did go to sober living.
Oh.
And the first time he went to sober living, he says that was the key. That really changed my life was learning how to live sober.
Absolutely.
And the sober living facility helped him find a job. And then he stayed at that same sober living facility, and he was able to pay. We give a 2-month scholarship.
Right.
We feel like if we give out just any more, we almost feel like we're enabling them.
Yep.
Exactly. And we check in with them after the 1 month to make sure they're seeking employment. So we make sure that they're out there, trying to improve their lives. Yeah. So.
Wow, I love that. Something that you posted a while ago, it was a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and he said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?
Yes.
And what's cool is not only are you doing this for them, then you see them get their lives back on track, and then now they're giving back, doing the same thing. Now they're helping other people.
Absolutely.
It's interesting how it just kind of, passes along. Snowball effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I love what you're doing. I'm going to ask you another question. If someone's listening to you right now, Susan, who's struggling, they're in a dark place, they're just having a rough time, and I'm sure someone listening right now is actually in that position, what would you tell that person? What would you say to them that might help them? I
would just tell them that they are absolutely, utterly amazing, and that their life is worth it. Every bit of their life is worth it. I know that they get down in the dumps, and I know that they do not want to be. Nobody wants to be addicted. Nobody wants to be addicted. Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to live this way. I just encourage them to just seek the light. Look for, take it 1 minute at a time. Yeah. Don't look at your past. Don't live in the past. The past is nothing. Let's see you do good going forward. You know, I want you to look at the light going forward. I don't want you to people get stuck in their past and what they've done, the bad things they've done. Hey, who hasn't done bad things? I don't know anybody in this life that hasn't done bad things and have regretted a lot of the stuff they've done.
For sure.
You cannot live in the past. Let's just start working on the future 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Just take it one little tiny baby step at a time. What do you want to do today? How are you going to make your life better? Get up with a positive attitude and just, okay, what am I going to do today to make my life better? I'm not going to take a drink. I'm going to seek out help if I need help.
Sure.
And hopefully you've got somebody that you really feel in your life that's uplifting and really cares about you that you can go to.
Yeah.
And go to them. You know, forget the negative people. Don't forget about the people that tear you down. Go to the people that are positive and really care about you and really want to see you succeed in life.
Yeah. Love it.
I just, you know, there was a darling kid on your podcast the other day, and I loved it when he said, delete all the negative people on your social media.
Yeah.
Just keep the people that are positive.
Yeah.
And I thought, I love that. You know, you get on
so simple but powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get on social media sometimes and you see so many wonderful things, and then there's a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
You know, that's not, you know, talk politics or, you know, talk, you know, let's encourage people to be successful and because, you know, I don't know one person that doesn't have a bad day.
Yeah.
I don't know one person that doesn't have hard things in their life.
Well, you know, and if people didn't know you and they just looked at you and they're like, man, she looks amazing, her life's probably amazing, they'd have no idea what you've been through.
No.
You know, and again, behind the scenes, we're all going through something. Every single one of us. Yeah. And that's why kindness and love and that gratitude that you've talked about so well in this episode is so important right now.
Yes, it is.
Like more than anything.
Especially now.
Yes.
You know, it just seems like that addiction has just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
Through this pandemic. It's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to challenge everyone listening to this right now. A couple things. One, please go to the sobrietyfoundation.org and make a donation.
Oh, you were so
Please
sweet.
make a donation. I don't care if it's $1, if it's $5, if it's $100, whatever you think you can do. Because remember, one of the things I'll say to my clients, I'll say this a lot. If you master the first 11 steps of AA, you'll drink again. If you master step 12, you'll never touch another drop. Step 12 is giving it away, helping someone else. And there is such power in that. And those who are struggling even, I promise you, if you will just give a little bit and let's direct it towards this Sobriety Foundation because it's going to help so many people, you will be surprised and amazed how you feel. And it might even break you out of that little, you know, maybe the funk that you're going through or the addiction, or for you to go seek help. And then the second thing I want to challenge you guys, if you have a loved one who's struggling, if you're a grandparent right now and you have a granddaughter or son that you're like, they seem a little off, they whatever, and you're not quite sure how to even approach them, send them the link to this episode. Let them listen to this. It kind of will break the ice, and then you can go talk to them. Hey, what'd you think? Just anyone you know that's struggling in your family, please share this with them. And I promise you this will inspire them. Susan's words are powerful. You really are a go-getter. You're a light. You are a passionate woman who obviously is doing everything she can to honor her son, Carson, with what you're doing. It's so impressive.
Thank you so much. I hate to take a lot of the credit because I have had so many inspirational, passionate people in my life. And I'll tell you, like I said, I mean, I keep talking about my board and my family members, but I couldn't have done what we've done with this foundation without a lot of support.
Yeah. You know, a lot of good people. Yeah, you're right. There's so many people that are supporting
Absolutely.
you.
And our donors, oh my gosh, and that donate every single year. They've been consistently donating for 10 years now. I mean, it's just it just warms my heart.
Yeah. Well, Susan, thank you so much for taking some time today out of your busy schedule. Thanks for sharing, being vulnerable with us today. And
thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you, Todd.
I'm so glad I know you, and I will do everything I can to help support what you guys are doing. And I hopefully so many people will reach out to you after this gets posted live. So
thank you for inviting me and letting me share my story.
Well, Susan Peterson, everyone, sobrietyfoundation.org. Please go check it out. And again, please donate anything that you think you can, and then share this with someone else. I love you guys. Thanks to our sponsors. You guys are fantastic. It allows us to get this out to so many more people. And I just pinch myself every day. I can't believe I get to sit with amazing people like yourself, Susan.
You've got a beautiful podcast. You really do. You're changing lives.
Thank you so much. And thanks, everyone, for all your support. I love you. And until the next episode, take care, everybody.